Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
We now know we were wrong, the high street stationers Paperchase wrote to customers today. We are truly sorry and won't ever do it again. Their crime? A promotional campaign over the weekend that ran in the Daily Mail. Readers of that paper were offered 2 free rolls of wrapping paper by Paperchase. But the promotion was spotted by the online activist group Stop Funding Hate, which targets companies advertising in The Sun, Express and Mail, arguing that they promote divisive and hateful views. Stop Funding Hate has now commended Paperchase for its change of heart. The apology when it came from Paperchase was fulsome and earnest.
We've listened to you about this weekend's newspaper promotion. We now know we were wrong to do this. We're truly sorry and we won't ever do it again. Thanks for telling us what you really think, and we apologise if we've let you down on this one. Lesson learnt.
What was this then? A victory for the little people, all those customers unhappy with the way Paperchase was doing business? A professional boycott along the lines of apartheid in the 1980s? Or a robust attempt at online bullying, not of an individual, but of a corporation? The group behind this protest is Stop Funding Hate. It works to change the media by taking on what it calls hate campaigns. Recently, they've accused the Daily Mail of a torrid few weeks of divisive stories about trans people. They congratulated Paperchase today for pulling out and promoted the apology to followers on Twitter, many of whom have followed suit. But the Paperchase statement may have lost them equal numbers of customers who've written their own disgust that the shop has been cowed into today's position by aggressive pressure from a small group of activists. In the run-up to Christmas, the relationship Paperchase has with its customers is likely to be vital. It's unclear yet whether there will actually be net gains. But if it was publicity the company was aiming for, then like it or loathe it, they've got themselves talked about, today at least. Well, Paperchase told this programme tonight that they frequently trial new brand campaigns and have taken the commercial decision not to repeat this promotion following significant levels of feedback from customers in store and online. And the Mail have put out a statement complaining that Paperchase has allowed itself to be bullied by a small group of hard-left Corbynist individuals, the Mail's words. Joining us now, Sarah Baxter, Deputy Editor of the Sunday Times, and Richard Wilson from Stop Funding Hate. It's lovely to have you both here. And I guess, Sarah, this is political activism at its best, isn't it? A company listening to the concerns of its customers and changing.
Absolutely not. It's a company being bullied by a small army of Twitter and social media trolls into using activism as a weapon against the free press. It's a very, very sad day for an independent media.
That is activism, isn't it? That's what it does. It tries to change the world.
Well, what Paperchase has sort of blundered into, really, is accepting the word of a few Twitter trolls that more or less the 2 million readers of the Daily Mail on Saturday are somehow racist, bigots and hate mongers. And I'm sure Paperchase really doesn't want to get involved in that kind of a political and culture war.
So Stop Funding Hate is basically an online version of bullying, isn't it? That you're inviting people to tweet vile things, hateful things, to a corporation instead of a person.
I think the core concern that so many Stop Funding Hate supporters have is that experts have warned that the hate in some of the UK's biggest newspapers is fueling hate crime on the streets, and that this isn't just stuff that people find offensive or disagreeable. This is stuff that's actually having a real impact in people's lives. And if you look at what Stop Funding Hate supporters were saying and what Paperchase customers were saying online, they were very friendly, they were very polite, they were using words like "we love Paperchase." They were being very civil.
This is an idiotic argument. I mean, what Richard and his group is doing is spending all day trawling through newspapers that they themselves would never read or pay for otherwise, to find things that they are outraged and offended by, so that they can deploy a social media mob to harass advertisers into withdrawing their support for a free press. And newspapers have always depended on advertising and the honest pound in your pocket from your readers to publish. And what he's really trying to do is close down these newspapers by destroying their source of funding.
Do you know that?
We're not trying to do that. We're trying
Why not? If you don't like them, you're saying stop funding hate, maybe you're trying to close them down.
I think the end point for us is a media that does the job that we want it to do, that upholds the public interest, that treats people fairly.
I'm sorry, you and your activists
I think the point
want to decide what the people of Britain can read or not.
I want to say one thing,
That's
that
very
the three
arrogant
newspapers, the
and
Daily Mail,
self-appointed and very, very wrong for democracy.
the key point here is that people are being harmed. We had hate crime experts from the University of Leicester warning that the hate in the media has been fueling
I'm sorry,
hate
is
crime
that the
incidents on
University of
the
Leicester
streets.
now decides what people are free to read?
And on top of that, the United Nations has called out the Daily Mail over their coverage. It's a very unusual situation.
It is interesting, though, Richard,
Yes.
because you are setting the moral compass here, aren't you? You are choosing the ethical standards. You make up the line. So if you decide, for example, Brexit, I'm not saying this, but if you decide Brexit is bad, if you decide immigration levels are bad, if you decide that feminists concerned about, let's say, self-identifying men are bad, then you choose what stories or what papers to boycott. That's how this works, isn't it?
The only reason I'm here is because over the weekend, thousands of Paper Chase customers used their freedom of speech, their freedom of expression to make their voices.
So it works.
It's so easy, isn't it, to just go...
And Paper Chase used their freedom of choice to decide to advertise differently in response to customer concerns. We're all about freedom.
Let me ask you
Everyone
something,
has
Sarah,
freedom of
because
speech.
you know you write for the Sunday Times, you're deputy editor. Do you think the Mail will start changing its editorial stance? If this is what happens, and if people like Paper Chase and others, because it goes down the list, doesn't it? There's, you know, Lego last time, Phone Co-op, Tridos Bank, Lush. If all these companies start pulling out their advertising, does the Mail change the way it writes stories?
No, it won't change the way it writes stories, and nor should it, because what we need in this country is a plurality of views and different newspapers. I mean, I hold no particular candle. I'm not here representing the Daily Mail or any other newspaper. I'm representing the fact that we have a free press in this country. It represents an enormous range of opinion, and people pay their money and choose their newspaper. But Richard has decided that he should be the arbiter of what people are free to read or not.
And Paper Chase might just be laughing the other side of their face if they were never going to advertise there again. They've just got a load of free publicity. The Mail's not going to change what it does either.
Well, Paper Chase made a business decision, and they have every right to make that business decision for whatever reason they want.
And advertisers looking at this will be very wary of getting embroiled in this sort of thing again, because Paper Chase have basically blundered. They're straight squarely now in the middle of a culture war. And that is not a place where you want commercial brands to be. I mean, newspapers have always valued their editorial independence from advertisers. It's not right that advertisers call the editorial line of the paper. It is right, of course, that advertisers can choose to be in a paper they feel comfortable with.
There is an irony as well, Richard, isn't there, that there is arguably nowhere more hate-filled than Twitter itself, which is very quick to tell people just how whatever they are being about whatever they choose to do. So why would Stop Funding Hate choose that as a vehicle to spread generous,
there's a climate.
messages?
There's a climate of hate which is in parts of our media. It's in social media, and actually, it's really important that, however we talk about any of these issues, we talk about it in a civil and respectful way. And that's
Do you think this will hurt Paper Chase or help them?
I think they've made a smart decision that will help them. What we saw last year was that Lego was rewarded for the decision that they made.
What do you think?
I don't think it was a smart decision. I think that it's a very, very uncomfortable place for a commercial brand to find itself in, where it's bowed to the wishes of a small number of people against what possibly is a silent majority.
Thank you both very much. We're out of time, but thank you.